welcome back to Sweet Magnolias. Today's video I'm going to talk about how I save money at the grocery store. This has been a requested video and it is something that I had in the works to do, but I actually started a new system recently to help me save money at the grocery store. If you're not familiar with my channel, my name is Emily. I am a stay-at-home homemaker. I have been married to my husband for 3 years and we're expecting our first little baby boy. We live on one income. We are a one-income family, so my goal is to save as much money as possible in our household. And one of those ways that I do that is by saving money at the grocery store. I think if we're honest, the number one place that we spend money every single month is food. For most people, food is the biggest budget buster because if you don't buy anything else, you're going to eat. You have to eat. So if you don't buy anything else, you're gonna buy food. And for a lot of people, it's a problem area. I know for us, it's a problem area. Keep in mind that we are only 2 people right now. So this is going to look different for everybody depending on if you have, 1 kid, 2 kids, 5 kids, depending on what your dynamic looks like, your grocery budget is going to be bigger or smaller, depending on that. But you can just use my system and compare it to your own life, compare it to your own finances and what you spend on groceries per month. I think it would just benefit us all if we could all just get it lowered a little bit every month, and that has been my goal with this new system. So if you're new to my channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when I post future videos. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get started on how I save money at the grocery store. Okay, so the first thing that I think I need to mention, and if you watched my video on tips on living on one income, you kind of already know this, but because we are a one income family, we eat at home most of the time. Not to say that we never go out, but we really try not to go out unless it's a special occasion or if it's just a situation where we're kind of in a pinch and we have to, or we have a date night, but we try not to eat out. And if we do, usually it's something cheap. It's something inexpensive like fast food or something like that. We hardly ever go out to a restaurant unless it's, like I said, a special occasion, a date night, or we have a gift card. So most of the time we eat at home. And eating at home, despite what some people will tell you, will save you a ton of money. Even if you are only 2 people, we have experienced both eating out a lot and eating at home, and I can tell you 100% it is cheaper for us to eat at home than it is for us to eat out every night. I can tell you that for 100% assurity. It is always going to be cheaper for you to eat at home than it is for you to eat out, because think about it, you're paying, depending on where you go, you could pay $20 for 1 plate of food at a restaurant, and then they charge you $2.75 if you get a soda. And that amount of money can be stretched out, at least for my meal plan, it can be stretched out over 2 or 3 meals. So that is just insane to me when you sit and think about it. I'm not saying restaurants are evil and that you shouldn't go to restaurants, but I'm just saying if you think about it, if you're thinking about the money aspect and your point is to budget and to be able to save more money, because that is the purpose of this video, is to help you be able to save more money. If that is your goal, then you need to think about those kinds of things, because they really do, like restaurants and things like that, really do add up and they really will bust your budget. Even like eating fast food 6 times a week, like 6 times a week spending $15 is gonna add up, especially because you're buying groceries on top of that. It's gonna add up. So eating at home is a ton more cost efficient than to eat out. So that is the first thing that I wanted to mention. So because we eat at home a lot of the time, I of course will meal plan. And meal planning, I don't meal prep, so I don't like cook everything in advance, but I will plan out my meals for either the week, or actually last month I planned it out for the entire month. And the way I did this is I actually brought something to show you guys, which I'm going to show you in a minute, but I plan my meals on my life calendar. So on the calendar that I have on the refrigerator that I write all of our stuff on, like appointments, whatever we've got going on, I write it on the calendar. So I'll also write on there what I plan to cook those nights. Now I don't cook exactly what I write on that day. I may rearrange some recipes or rearrange some things, but I have a general idea of what I'm cooking for the month. And that is what I did last month. I haven't planned it out for the entire month for October yet. I just planned it out for this week because we're in a transition period right now. But planning it out for the month and planning it on the same calendar as I plan my life stuff really helps, because if I see we're gonna be gone, then I know we need to either plan to eat out that day, or we need to work something out, or I need to put something in the crock pot so that it's ready when we get home. So by meal planning on my life calendar, that helps me see better so that I'm not hit with something unexpected and then all of a sudden I realize, oh, we're gonna be out of town or we're gonna be gone this day, and then not have anything to cook. So for my meal planning for the month, I have a series of recipes that I generally stick to, and I keep it simple. Simplicity is key when it comes to planning your meals out, because if you don't want to be trying to cook something that has like 50 different ingredients, because it's just not very cost efficient if you have to go buy 50 different ingredients. Now, I do have certain recipes that I want to try, that have more ingredients and that are fancier, and you can do that like once a week. But for the most part, all of my recipes are very simple, they're very quick, they're very easy. They may not always be the healthiest thing in the world, but they're very easy and easy to plan, easy to shop for, they're inexpensive. So that is what I stick to. If you guys want me to share some of those recipes, let me know. But I keep a long list. It's stuff that my mom, like recipes that my mom gave me, recipes that I find on Pinterest, which I actually have a Pinterest board for supper meal planning ideas, which I'll leave linked down below. But it's Pinterest, recipes my mom gave me, and then just recipes that I've tried since we got married, and I just kept them either on a card or in the back of my mind so that I could reuse them. So I'll put them all out on the calendar and I'll alternate them week by week. I have a lot of crock pot meals in there, just easy, simple things that I can cook that I know that I can, delegate out. Some of them, especially since it's just the two of us, like some of those meals I know will make 2 nights worth of meals. Another thing you may want to consider is planning out meals that you can make a double batch of and freezing them. I know I have one particular recipe, stuffed shells. It's a very, very easy, simple recipe. You can find it on Pinterest. It's very cheap to make. So I'll make a double batch of that and I'll freeze one, because right now I'm trying to stock up on freezer meals with the baby coming so that we have freezer meals when the baby comes. But that's something that will really help you as well. If you're able to keep some meals in your freezer, then one day when you're in a pinch and you need a meal fast, just pull one of your freezer meals out and pop it in the oven. It's the simplest thing in the world. I did that actually last week. I had made a double batch of stuffed shells a while back, and I had put several different ones in the freezer. And I got home really late one day, and Brendan was getting home late that day, and we had church that night, and I just popped one of them suckers in the oven and it was done, and it was great. So that is another good idea to help you save money. If you can find you a recipe that's very inexpensive to make and just make a double batch of it, make sure it's freezer friendly, freeze it, and then if you need to have like a fill-in meal for the month, you have one right there. Something else that I started doing that really, really helped when it comes to saving money for us at the grocery store is to take inventory. Not only take inventory, but make an inventory list. A couple of weeks ago, or no, more towards the beginning of September, I cleaned out our pantry. And you guys, when I cleaned out our pantry, I discovered that I had like 5 bottles of barbecue sauce and 5 bottles of soy sauce and 3 boxes of rice, and just repetitive stuff that had been shoved in the back of my pantry, and I had forgotten all about it. And I knew that for a recipe I needed barbecue sauce, so I went and bought another barbecue sauce, and I had 5 bottles of barbecue sauce. So that is like a waste of money, because I already had it at the house and then I went and bought another one. So I rearranged my whole pantry and put everything in a place that I could see it easily. I put the like items together and I made a list. I wrote it all down, and then I went to my computer and I did a computer list. I typed up an inventory list of everything in my pantry. Now, I don't do like sandwich meat, milk, stuff like that. Stuff that's refrigerated, I did not put on the list. This is pretty much basically just pantry items, meat, staples, things like that. I put it on the list and it's on my computer. So when I use the last box of something, or when I use one of my boxes or bottles of something, I'll go onto the computer and change the number so that when I go to make my grocery list, I have the inventory of everything that's in there and I don't have to go check. I can just look at the inventory list and see what I need to buy and write it down, or see what I need to use for a recipe. This also helps because if you ever are like trying to think of something to cook, if you have your inventory list of things that you have, it avoids you wasting food. So you can use what you have instead of going to the grocery store and buying more food. If you already have it, then you can use what you have, and it makes it to where you're wasting less food. And we all could use that less waste lifestyle. So that's what I do currently, is keeping the inventory of what is in my pantry and looking at that before I go to the grocery store. Keeping this list will also help you with your meal planning, because if you're meal planning, you can meal plan around what's on your inventory. And if you notice that that recipe calls for something in particular, you can look at your inventory list and see if you have it. And if not, then you purchase it. But if you have it on your inventory list, then that's one less thing you have to spend money at the grocery store. Okay, so that's all I had for you guys on money saving grocery shopping tips. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe before you leave. Also, you can follow me on social media down below. I always leave all of my handles down below. I hope these are helpful to you. If you have any helpful tips for the community, please be sure to leave them in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.